Segment 1: Why it sucks to be a Gobi camel. Imagine yourself waking, not in a warm bed, not beneath a solid roof, but curled beneath a low hill of stone and sand, shielded only by your own shaggy fur. Your thick winter coat, matted and dust-heavy, is your sole armor against the chill. The wind sighs across the flatlands with a voice that never rests, a low, unfeeling murmur that whispers over the bones of the land. You are a Gobi camel, and the day begins not with promise, but with survival. The cold is biting, even as the sun begins its slow climb. In the Gobi, winter temperatures often plunge below -40°C, a cold so deep it stiffens your limbs before you've even risen. Your breath plumes in the frigid air, and already your body is pulling from your fat reserves. The humps on your back, though not filled with water as many assume, are the fuel tanks that may spell the difference between endurance and collapse. There is little. You browse thorny shrubs crusted with frost, breaking the brittle twigs between your thick, rubbery lips. You consume what others could not, because you must. Even dry bark and salty grasses become meals when the alternative is starvation. You kneel to graze on a shrub that tastes of sand and memory. Water is rarer still. You may not drink for days, sometimes a week or more, and when the moment finally comes, your body is prepared. You can drink over 100 liters in a single sitting, absorbing and storing that rare luxury within minutes. But waterholes in the Gobi do not glisten. They are brackish, partially frozen, and few. You trek for hours, perhaps an entire day, toward one your memory recalls. It may be dry, may be occupied by wolves. Still, you go. The heat will come. As day stretches on, the temperatures rise. What was once below freezing becomes 40 degrees above. Your thick coat now suffocates, but you cannot shed it fully. You sweat very little to conserve moisture, so your only defense is to endure, to pant softly, and to keep moving. Always, there is movement. The ground beneath your feet is a shifting agony of loose stone, hard-packed soil, and wind-swept gravel. Your broad, leathery feet spread to prevent sinking. You are built for this terrain. Yes, but that doesn't mean it's gentle. Your legs ache, your hoofs crack, and the wind, it never stops. It tears through the canyons and sweeps across the plateaus, carrying dust like a second skin. Your eyes, thick-lashed and narrow, squint against it. Your nostrils close into tight slits, shielding your lungs from the sting of sand. Predators, they lurk at the edges of vision. Wolves in particular. In lean winters they grow bold, circling and testing your resolve. You kick if they draw near. One well-placed blow can shatter a jaw, but you cannot fight forever. You must keep moving, always moving. Your companions are few, a herd of kin, each as lean and calloused by the desert as you are. You walk together across the emptiness, pausing only to rest, graze, or birth the next generation of wanderers. And when night returns, it is not gentle. The heat dies. The earth exhales its warmth into the sky. The wind grows sharp. And again, you curl beneath the stones, a shape against the cold, waiting. Tomorrow, you will wake again, and the struggle will continue. Segment 2: The Caravan King. One camel's longest winter journey biography event narrative. Let us now shift, gently, calmly, from the daily life of the camel, to a journey, a real journey, a quiet odyssey through snow, stone, and silence. This is the tale of one Bactrian camel, a single thread in the ancient tapestry of trade, survival, and memory. His name was never recorded. Camels were not granted such honors in the ledgers of time, but his story was whispered by herders and merchants alike. Among the caravan masters, he came to be known only as the King. The King was born in the eastern reaches of the Gobi, near what is now the Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region. He was born during winter, a season when even strong calves are sometimes lost before sunrise. But he lived. Not simply lived, he endured. By his 4th year he had begun his work. As with all working camels, there was no ceremony. A yoke across his back, rope to bind bundles, heavy salt blocks lashed to his flanks, a leather nose peg gently inserted to guide his steps. This was the beginning of his service to the ancient caravan routes. The desert slide. His most famous journey began in the 9th winter of his life. A bitter year when snow blanketed the dunes and froze the water sources solid. Yet the caravan had to move. Trade did not wait for comfort. 30 camels in total, each loaded with wool, medicinal herbs, raw jade, and fermented mare's milk packed in skin bags. The merchants whispered nervously. The cold could split wood, snap bindings, freeze a man's thoughts mid-sentence. The King walked first. He had earned that place. The led camel must be the most experienced, the one who does not spook at shadows or falter at frozen streams. He walks not for himself, but for the whole. The others follow his step. If he slows, they all slow. If he panics, chaos ripples down the line. That year, the caravan aimed across the desert from east to west, 1,500 kilometers of shifting terrain, icy gullies, and near total isolation. At their slow, steady pace, It would take 2 months. Each day followed the same rhythm. The slow loading of cargo in pre-dawn silence, the crunch of frozen sand underfoot, the low groans of camels rising beneath their burdens. Then Mosin, 6 hours, then a break, then 6 more. At dusk, a circle of windbreaks, dried meat for the men, frozen shrubs for the animals. Sleep was shallow and brief. The king endured, through biting sandstorms that flayed the skin from men's faces, through valleys filled with powdered snow that swallowed hooves to the knees, through nights when the wind howled like spirits in mourning. He never refused to rise, never collapsed. And once, when a younger camel grew lame, he took half of its burden across his own back. No one spoke, but the gesture was seen. He had become more than a beast of burden. He was an anchor, a steady heart in the center of hardship. On the 39th day, the caravan reached the far camp, a place of dried rations, stored goods, and welcome relief. Several camels bore frostbite along their lips. One had perished in the snow, but the majority lived. Trade was completed. Mission, in the language of merchants, was a success. But among the herders, the tale passed down was simpler. The king brought us through. He would go on to make 4 more crossings in his lifetime, each slower than the last, each marked by the same quiet determination. When he finally collapsed, not in hardship but in age, he was not butchered, as some camels were. He was buried beneath a cairn of stone. A circle of river rocks was placed around the site. One of the herders carved a small sun into the largest stone. Nothing more. That stone remains, weathered, forgotten by most. But the desert remembers, and now, so do you.